All right, hey everybody. This is Jose from Imagine That, D&D. And today we're just going to talk a bit about backstory of our characters. I have Danny here with me. He's the guy that kind of plays Baz.
Kind
He
of plays
gets
him.
annoying. Well, you play Baz, but you're more Baz in real life than you are in character.
I mean, to be
So,
fair, there's like to a certain degree, there's a fine line between both of our characters and our actual real life.
I mean,
Like
my
our
character is
our
nothing like
actual
me
our
in my real
actual
life.
French dynamic is kind of like that already. So
I don't know
it's
about
it's
that.
not
I
a
mean,
stretch when we're
well,
playing the game.
I mean, Paizo's really different from me per se. I think he's really
I
different.
don't know. I've
So
seen you eat a piece of tree bark once or
you've
twice.
never seen me eat a piece of tree bark.
Yeah, time in college you ran out of cereal. You just like
What?
stuck your hand out the window and grabbed some leaves and some
I
twig
did no such
branches.
thing. This is not true.
This isn't like
Anyways,
honesty hour. I thought
this
this
is not.
was.
With, anyways, so yeah, we're here to talk about backstory of our characters. Mine being Paizo, and Danny's being. By the way, I'm Jose. I don't know if I said that. Danny's
Did.
being Boz. So I think we should just talk about Boz's first because this is frankly more interesting than mine. He has more of a backstory. Mine's just a convoluted
Are you kidding me?
insanity.
What What
I
do you
mean,
mean he's more interesting? Your guy like
I mean,
was like a star race that typically crashes on planets and
yeah, yeah. Okay,
uses the elements of the planet to grow entire colonies. Okay,
well, they
listen.
don't use the elements of the planet. All right,
Go
so
ahead.
my character's Paizo. He is a starborn, but he's kind of a twisted version of that. He's called
How did
this.
you come up with that? Because that's not a you
Well, the
use
starborn is from
you use the
the
creator
D&D.
race feature, right?
What do you mean?
You use like the homebrew, like you took a race from a previous
Yeah,
edition,
yeah. So that's basically like I took the race from Starborn, the previous edition, and we're playing 5e right now. So if anybody's wondering,
but you took it from like
um, I have no, I cannot remember.
I think it's like 3.5 or something.
Yeah, I guess. But the race is Starborn, and basically they are a weird, very weird race that they're like they are all born inside a meteor. And when they hit a planet or whatever, and they crack out, and they're all born like full grown with 6 arms, and there's like a colony of them, and they're like blacksmiths, and they never talk to anybody, and they only eat rocks, and
But
they
the thing is, like, it's supposed to be like a
yeah.
whole colony, right? Like
Yeah, whole colony.
when they hatch
Exactly.
out of their little
Yeah,
meteor.
yeah. But for me, I kind of took that and twisted it a little, so I came up with something called the Torn Stars,
What?
which is translation from the Saketa Hoshi. But their nickname is the Boomers. So he's kind of, mine's a bit different because mine is the same meteor thing, except it hit a primordial beast while it was going through
Wait,
space.
are you? Is this like something you want to reveal right now, or?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, this is fine. This is just backstory. Like I said, this is all just backstory.
Just casual, just a casual, smack into a primordial beast.
Well, I mean,
Mm.
we don't know why I was there, but yeah, a small primordial beast was going, and by small I mean like not the size of a planet. Um, the meteor hit the primordial beast. It killed it. Inside this primordial beast, like the meteor started cracking and changing, and the beast is like fluid and blood went in there, and basically the meteor, everything inside the meteor started mutating, and then it went into like it caught in the orbit of Earth, fell,
Not Earth.
and
Not Earth.
well, not Earth, but sorry, Alexandria,
Yeah, there you go.
which is the planet where all this takes place. Um, yeah, so it got caught up in the orbit, and then it it basically fell on top of a mountain, aka it fell on a volcano, really, which is where our first adventure kind of takes place. The island that we're kind of in right now in the arc, according to the recordings that are coming out right now. That is. Um,
You basically like wrecked a bunch of monks' temple.
yeah, I mean, basically, yeah. So like the meteor, aka corpse flesh meteor,
Gross.
landed
Did the whole body go with it?
the whole
Like,
body, yeah, like the whole body just landed on top of this volcano and everything like blew to hell.
Pretty awesome.
So there's like blood, guts, and lava everywhere, and it destroyed this monk's temple. And the monk didn't take it too well, but he wasn't there. So like he came up, this monk came up, and he's like, "Oh snap!"
This man came back from vacation. His shit was wrecked.
Basically, I mean, the monk was like, and he looks up, and there's like a giant fish-looking primordial beast or whatever the hell, like dead, on top of his home. And then out of that, like Paizo, he comes out of that, so he like tears through like some kind of like alien, which I guess
comes
is
out.
technically.
What's for dinner, Grandpa?
Yeah, exactly. Grandpa.
What do you mean? What's for dinner? Clean this shit up.
Exactly. What? That's a giant beast. No. Good God, can you imagine that shit? Anyways,
I have.
but
I just did. I think.
yeah. Yeah. So he comes out of this beast or whatever, and because of the mutation, like cracking out instead of like this whole colony is just one. So it's just like one corrupted ass Starborn, and because of the corpse it came out of, he's kind of like half celestial, half fiendish, because he's like half dead and half alive.
That's cool.
So like all the Starborn fused together. He comes out all in this like drenched in goop, and these guys don't come out with clothes, so he's coming out naked. But then they don't have genitalia, so yeah,
So it doesn't matter.
it doesn't matter. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like he finds him. The monk finds him. The monk kind of like takes him into his, well, not home. I mean, I guess they have to build a new home. And he trains him. Like he spends, like, since he comes out of this like corpse slash meteor, he looks like he's 25. He look a year old adult,
fully grown. Right.
Right, but they don't get older technically. They just come out.
But he's like 10
Yeah.
technically. When
If
Boz finds him, he's like still like small comparatively.
Yeah, like he's not
he hasn't been quote unquote alive very long.
Exactly. So, and it's kind of ridiculous if you think about it. Like he comes out, blah blah blah, and basically the monk just trains him. He just trains him because there's nothing else to do. Usually Starborn don't interact with anybody. They're just in their colony. But since there really is no colony this time because he absorbed them all,
it's just him. So
that's him. So he's just training on the island with the monk until
it's like those stories of like twins in the womb, and like one like embryo like eats the other one. It's like, well,
basically
the strongest one survived.
Yeah, except this one's like one embryo ate the neighborhood. So
it's like it's pretty funny.
So I mean, yeah, that's pretty much Paizo. He's a fighter / a monk, not in class wise, but like the monk was kind of a fighter.
He was trained like a monk, but the class is a
he was
fighter.
trained like a monk,
So
but
narratively speaking.
He's a fighter, yeah.
Narratively speaking, he's like taking on the monk traditions, but
yeah, kind of, yeah.
Or he was trained by one at least. So I guess he doesn't.
Yeah.
So does he identify as a monk, or
he doesn't identify as it because he doesn't like
he doesn't know that that's a particular thing? He just fights. He just knows how to fight.
Yeah, like he doesn't really understand classes or stuff like that. But
well, I mean, I don't
he doesn't
think,
have.
classes are a thing, but I'm saying like,
well, he
narratively
doesn't
speaking.
understand what the difference between a knight and a monk. He doesn't understand because he doesn't have any exposure to the outside world. Like all he knows is from his master. So he knows different species because his master explained it to him. That's why he knows why you're a dragonborn. That's why he knows why Boz is a dragonborn. Just because he's been explained to him that species from his master, not because he's actually seen them before.
Right, of course.
So, speaking of which, Boz, he's a very particular looking dragonborn.
It's a very weird, weird in like a good way, I guess. We still don't know. I mean, I have an idea. Well, I mean, I made up the character, but like I let like the reason why so the whole thing is his parents were not actually his parents. They found him. They found an egg washed up on the shore. I guess we should backtrack a little bit. His parents were also dragonborn,
right.
Copper and Bronze.
Copper and Bronze.
Yeah, I don't know what there's any point to go, because I wrote out like a really long, like I thought about this shit like a lot.
Like I wrote like maybe a page.
2 sentences.
You wrote like a damn
well
book.
No, if you I wrote like, it wasn't a, if
you wrote
a page, man. Then I guess you could say that. But I did write a lot, but it wasn't like a crazy amount. But I did think about it a lot. So like just in case like there was any other possibility for any kind of like branching narratives, I thought about like the lineage of the two people that would eventually adopt him, the two dragonborn. But I guess none of that's important. The point is they were both adventurers, pretty.
Both his parents?
They were both in like a guild, and they would go out.
So they were like legit adventurers. I mean, if they were in a guild,
they were legit. They would be sent to like stop threats. And in
did
one
Boz
particular,
come along, or was he just like?
No. Before this was before they found him.
So they weren't adventurers when
wild. No. It was kind of because they were adventurers that they were. Like, they decided to, like, retire. So, like, one of their last adventures, I guess, one of their last, like, missions in the guild, they came across this place that was, cursed out the wazoo, and it triggered some kind of, like, magical disease thing, and like, half of their, their traveling party died. And because of their, dragonborn biology, I guess, they were able to not immediately die, so they were able to get out of there. But they became sterile and they were sick like forever.
Man.
So yeah, so
that's a sad ass backstory.
So I mean, then they took their leave and from the guild and decided to just like live out the rest of their days together in peace, relative peace. Doing.
I mean, if a random dragonborn pops onto your doorstep, I think that's about relative as it gets.
What do you mean? I mean,
this is a fantasy world.
Yeah, but they're not plentiful, but I guess if one pops up somewhere, it's not so out of the ordinary, In any case, they kind of settled out, kind of like the outskirts of like a town. I'm not even sure if we've talked about that yet, like what the place is called. In any case, the father like took up, ranging and hunting and fishing, just normal stuff like that. And the mother did, she helped out, and I guess because she was like an arcanist, a sorcerer, I guess. If you were to put a class on her, she was a sorcerer, so she knew like arcane stuff, magic stuff like that.
Does that mean is that why Boz knows some arcane stuff, or is
that's part of it? I mean, he knows like any kind of magic that Boz knows is because it's paladin training. So it's
I see,
divine stuff.
Because Boz is a paladin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's his class. So yeah, they were living out there, relaxing, supposedly to the end of their days, till the disease finally did them in. And the dad, he's like fishing. one day just casually, and he sees this like this egg, just like washed up on the shore, coming
So he was
from a
walking on the
hunt.
beach.
He found an egg. He found like
Isn't
a
that
super.
technically kind of fishing? I mean, if he's hunting, fishing is hunting,
He
isn't
was
it?
I don't know, maybe he was hunting in the woods. I didn't put much thought into that part, but
All right, well, go ahead. Yeah.
he found an egg. It was a really shiny egg, even for like metallic dragonborn. Even for a silver one, it was still like a really shiny egg, unnaturally so.
Right.
Like it was almost like it was weird, but it was cool. It's one of those things where it's like, it looks too nice. Like it's almost there's something off about it, but you can't
Handmade.
really.
Dun
Okay.
dun dun.
Well, we don't know.
Buzz is actually a robot.
With biology, I don't know.
Wow.
Anyways.
Biological
Biometal.
wait a second.
Biometal. That's what I wanted to say. Anyways, so he takes it back to his house and they get it cleaned up, and it's actually a platinum, dragonborn egg. So he hatches and they raise him as his own. I mean, they're worshippers of they're believers in Bahamut, so they believe that
Which is a dragon god, right?
he's the dragon god of the metallic, of the good dragon.
But he's not like the only one, right? Or I don't actually know. I don't know if anybody. Look, we are brand new to D&D, so we are finding this shit out as we go.
When I was
But,
I saw a picture of Bahamut and he looked really cool, so I figured that would be since the race that I chose was Dragonborn. I figured if they're good guys and they got to be religious, then Bahamut, it's Bahamut. So
Alright.
so yeah,
I mean,
so
they don't have to be religious, but all right.
they don't have to be, but I'm saying if they were going to be, then Bahamut would be the one that they would
Alright.
follow. Anyways, so they took it as a sign from Bahamut that this was their little miracle, seeing as they couldn't have kids of their own. So yeah, they raised them as their own, and they grew up together, and they taught him how to be a good person, but eventually the disease took them. It took the dad first, and then a year later or so took
It was
the
a
mom.
curse, right? It wasn't really a
It was
disease.
a magical disease. Like it was triggered by magical means. So it's not like
Ah.
something medicine could curse, and that I guess at that time they didn't know of anyone. I mean, the mom was an arcane user, so if there
Right,
was any way to cure it by magical means, she would know. But they they didn't find one. So eventually, when Boz was like 9, he all of a sudden found himself alone. Both of his parents were gone. What he believed to be his parents were gone, and that made him, and on top of that, everything that his parents had worked for, the dad, building the connections as a hunter, as a ranger, as a just like a good person in the city, and the
Right.
mother, helping out the what is it? I guess it would be like the equivalent to a library, but of magic.
Library of magic.
Like if
The internet?
what? No.
No. I don't know.
Okay. Anyways, he found that people within the community, found that they were dead, and that they anything that they had amassed, any kind of like wealth or whatever, especially from their adventuring days, because they had amassed a good bit.
Right.
They were just like,
But
oh
so
well.
basically, they took in Boz.
No,
Like
they
his
didn't.
academy took him in, right?
No, they didn't. No, they wanted to take all of the shit that the parents had left.
Oh, I see.
So, he had to contend with that, while basically being alone. So, he didn't quite. So eventually him being a kid, like, how is he gonna fend off all of these adults trying to take all of the money that his parents had left him? You know what I mean?
I mean, isn't he like 6 feet tall and a dragon? Couldn't he just kill them?
I mean, I guess, but he's a good person. So, well, he's at least his parents taught him to be a good person. So, you know, he had that sense of right and wrong. It's like, okay, just because they're being shitheads, that's not a reason to
Yeah.
kill them.
Yeah, I suppose so. I mean,
And
though,
according to them, their claims were valid. You know, saying that, you know, that they had, I don't know, like classic, you know, we're gonna seize your property because it belongs to me, sort of thing. So the way they, you know, they posed it, his hands were tied. He couldn't, you know, he was left with a bit, but you know, it was meager. So he had to, you know, scrounge on the streets like a street urchin to figure shit out, to find a means to survive and live. And
I can already see your boss as Aladdin.
You're just making all of the references today. Like you're
Yeah,
just.
I'm sorry. It's connecting.
I mean, those you're making connections that I myself didn't even make.
I mean, that's what I do.
I mean, it's part of the. It was part of the background that I chose for him.
Aladdin?
No, man.
Are we gonna see a genie in the future?
One of the backgrounds, that's available for player characters is the urchin, street urchin.
Oh, right.
So,
yeah.
you know, that's
I don't
kind
even
of how
know what mine is.
that's kind of how I, you know, narratively speaking, wove the background into him.
Right.
So, you know, he had eventually he made friends with all the orphans and all the outcasts, and he kind of was like the big brother to them. But you know, because he was left alone, and seemingly unfair that these two people who he idolized, his parents, people who raised him, you know, these good people, you know,
Yeah.
were taken, and like all of the rich snobby people who wanted to take their shit once they were dead, you know, those are the people that were left in the world. He had a real like resentment, you know, so he had a lot of anger. You know, it was always just like he would get into fights a lot. You know, when he'd try to stay out of trouble, but you know, trouble would follow him because he was an angry kid.
You still angry now? Like you like?
Well, yeah, but
Boz is always
that's
yelling at Paizo.
well, that's the thing. He gets the rise out of him because 9 years. Okay, but you see, when he's dealing with normal people, when he's dealing with people that aren't infuriating jackasses. He's normal. Like he's civil.
What?
He's civil and he's polite, and you know he's tactful. He knows what to say to people. But that goes with the whole, you know, paladin training he received. So, you know, long story short, he got into a pretty big fight, you know, around like age 15, and he almost killed a noble's son. So it ended up getting one of his friends killed, and as a result, he left that town. He had to run away, and all he was able to get were, you know, the clothes on his back, a small bit of coin, and you know, the axe that his father left him, and the pendant that was his mother's, which both things he would always carry on him all the time. So basically, just, you know, he would just went to his house, grabbed a bit of coin, and bounce. You know, beat feet, just got the hell out of there.
It's interesting that you mentioned that. Your character does have things that attach him to the past, and I forgot to mention Paizo actually, the bandana that wraps around his waist, because usually Starborn don't wear clothing.
They just
So-
walk around naked.
Pretty much, they don't really care.
I mean, because the way they're supposed to be born,
that's
it's
the
like
way,
their
in
whole colony.
community.
It's just them.
Yeah, so that's how they function. But since he was kind of raised mentally with the monk, and because he kind of has some celestial knowledge due to the freakish mutation, he kind of has different characteristics. So, but yeah, like the bandana he has around his waist, that's actually part of the clothing that his father/master had before he left. Or,
it's fun fact. It's actually the monk's skin. He skinned him when he died. Just kidding.
No, those are his pants. Those are his pants. That's none of that's true.
None
But
of that's true.
yeah, so that's pretty. So your character
He
went
ran
through all
away.
this hell and shit.
Ran
Yeah,
away.
and then he became a paladin, right?
Well, he wandered into a city, which is Esper. I think it's the first one that's given a name in our
Right.
campaign. It's one of the bigger cities.
Right.
So he wandered. He stumbles in there, half dead, malnourished, after God knows how long on the road. He makes his way into Esper, and he tries to resume his thievely ways, but a paladin monk
Right.
from I think the way the title Kyle gave it was Order of the Platinum Lance, Silver Lance.
I something like that.
I gotta check my notes,
When
but
that episode comes out, I'll be reminded. I haven't edited that episode yet.
well, he finds him, and he sees his very unique appearance, and sees that he's got potential. So he kind of takes him under his wing, and
The
he trains
paladin
him.
sees that Boz has potential. To
Yeah,
be
yeah,
good,
yeah,
right?
yeah. The paladin,
Yeah.
the paladin sees that
Right.
he's got potential, and takes him under his wing. And so,
So he kidnaps him.
9 years back. No, man. Like, I mean, he finds out that he's got nothing. Like, he doesn't belong to anyone. He doesn't have any parents. He's just kind of on the streets. So he takes
I
him
see.
in, trains him
All right.
for like 9 years. And so when we see Baz, he's like, right in the first episode, like the very start, he's kind of on his what is that thing? Is it the
How would I know?
Hero's Quest or whatever? Like the thing you do to prove yourself. It would essentially be like
Sure.
his like
Hero's
final
Quest,
his
right.
final exam into like being a bona fide
Paladin.
lanceman. Yeah, paladin. So he's
Yeah.
technically not.
That's
Like, he's
and
not.
this like challenge or exam or whatever is going to the island, right?
Yeah, going to like they get a mission, and they see what's up, and if they don't come back, well, they weren't cut out for it. But
Right. Because I mean, the island, there's some weird shit going on there, as most of you know, considering how many episodes have come out by now.
I don't know.
And you'll find out soon enough. But,
I thought you were about to speak in Spanish right now. I was like, what?
¿Y cómo te están? No. Y dime cuántas veces.
Estos
No,
tostones.
by the way, we're not making fun of anybody.
We are
Hispanic
both
here,
Hispanic. Yes.
So everyone about to comment like, those son of a bitches. Like, no.
That's not how you was. That's not how you pronounce tostones.
Yeah, exactly. What? If I hear frijoles and habichuelas here, Mexico. Anyways,
You may hear tostones a lot. We have a weird affinity for that word.
we're not getting into that. We might get demonetized. Oh wait, we're not monetized.
Yet.
Please, for the love of God, subscribe.
Now you're sounding desperate.
or share. Casual.
No, the moment is past.
So that's your first.
Yeah, that's his.
that's your first challenge.
That's Boz is on his like final exam, I suppose. So
Yeah,
that's kind of
which
how
is-
that's kind of because you don't get
If you
like
think about it.
you don't get your paladin oath or most like your subclass, like the thing you commit to for the rest of the game, whatever. You don't get it till level 3. So that's kind of how I,
And we're both meeting at level
justify-
1.
Yeah,
on this
up to
island,
level 1. So we are. It's rough times,
Yep,
especially for Paizo, because he gets one-shotted by like a mongoose.
yeah, everything. I mean, Paizo doesn't wear any armor, so he only has pants. He doesn't, and 2 blades made out of the stone he came out of, and
We'll
that
fix that.
that
Boz
that
is. I mean,
sash.
he's not wearing like heavy plate armor or anything. But
I mean, at least Boz has some armor.
comparatively
comparatively
to Paizo, he's fucking armed to the teeth.
yeah, which says a lot because I'm a rock. I'm like a like a.
He
living
should. His
rock.
armor class should be like super high because he's naturally.
But no. But yeah. So, anyways, guys, that's pretty much it. We just wanted to talk about our characters a bit, so you get to know them a bit more before the next episode comes out, because in a couple weeks this arc on the island will be done, and things are gonna get batshit crazy really quick. Anyways, thanks for listening. Thank you for subscribing, for sharing, for everything.
All five
We
of
really
you.
appreciate everything. And like I said, till next time, this has been Imagine That. I'm Jose.
Danny.
This is Danny. Yeah, you know. And
See you
take
later.
care.